to ask ourselves, how do we move on? What should be the best approach to making sure that this plan is implemented?
We
are gathered here to take a look at our existing culture of elections and the existing legal framework to see the further surgical operations that we need to perform in order to ensure that our elections are truly reflective of the wishes of our general populace.
A ray of hope towards fashioning Nigeria's electoral processes to stand the test of time manifested as the INEC chairman represented said that for the first time continuous voter registration is on.
The Commission has approved the proposed strategic plan and strategic program of action for the period 2017 and 2021.
The imperative of time consciousness in matters concerning elections also came to the fore.
Universally, it is quite clear that the electoral legal framework needs to be well settled and in place well ahead of the elections.
Gender matters also came under close examination with the focus on giving women their rightful place in the electoral process. The Deputy Speaker, Yusuf Lasson, also chipped in on some salient areas in matters of electoral reforms.
We have made a very strong case for independent candidacy.
I wish to assure all Nigerians of the commitment of the House of Representatives under the leadership of Right Honorable Yakubu Dogara to amend the Electoral Act in line with our people's expectations.
The committee will report findings to the House for further legislative action. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the federal government's determination to reposition the maritime subsectors of the economy for it to stand the test of time is in top gear as the legislature is
recovery from recession that rages in the land.
Matters of effective regulation in the subsector also came to the fore.
The outcome of the interaction will further enrich the bills and consequently ensure proper determination of public service obligations.
We are proposing that all other agencies that want to sneak into the board of NEWA would constitute an impediment to the eventual effectiveness and efficiency of NEWA.
So having that port authority that is non-functional is not helping the nation.
Lagos is convinced and committed to keeping its waterways, keeping it clean, maintaining adequate security in its waterways, and dredging for purpose of commercial activities.
Participants expressed hope that the bill, when passed into law, would ensure the integrity, efficiency, and safety of the nation's ports based on the principles of accountability, fairness, and transparency. From the National Assembly, Ifeanyi Isumba, NT News.
The Supreme Court has reserved judgment in the PDP leadership crisis case. The date for the judgment is to be communicated to all the parties. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onoge, gave the indication after arguments had been taken from the parties in the case. Judiciary correspondent Femi Okewu reports.
The significant thing about Monday's sitting is that all positions are now before the Apex Court.
Transparency International report. General Eneche said, having critically looked at the report, he is of the view that it neither reflects nor captures present military officials. The defense spokesperson faulted the procedure for arriving at such conclusion, which he said is geared towards undermining the military.
This is blank report, and I suspect that it must have been done with ulterior motive on both sides. And Transparency International will also have to be careful.
While cautioning the Transparency International to beware of persons with hidden motives using their platform to incite and elicit the wrong reactions, General Eneche said the military remains focused on its constitutional responsibility of protecting Nigeria's territorial integrity.
It's not secret. We are all seeing it. Provision of everything that, to a large extent, that we require in the front, and that is why our morals are high. You talk about procurement, established at all levels of the armed forces now. We have branches established, from defense headquarters right to the Air Force headquarters, and we follow Bureau for Public Procurement procedure.
Military is totally loyal to the present administration, and that erring officers, if any, will not be spared. With representatives from about 38 African countries, African Digital TV Development Seminar has started in Beijing, China, to discuss ways of facilitating digitization in Africa. Minister of Information Lai Mohammed, who led the Nigerian delegation, called on African ministers to find areas of advantage in their countries and leverage on them to develop African digital economy. Julieta Aino reports.
Still living up to expectations 7 years in a row, the 2017 Star Times Digital TV Development Seminar attracted an even bigger crowd than that of the year before. The 7th African Digital TV Development Seminar opened at the Sunrise Kempinski Hotel in Yanchi Lake with the theme Universalize Digital TV and Enjoy a Smart Life. Star Times President Pang Xingxin led the stream of speeches from Chinese government representatives and
Nigeria and Star Times to cooperate. The minister used the opportunity to address issues concerning Star Times and its operation in Nigeria, urging the Star Times president to see Nigeria as its #1 friend and partner.
Meeting further expanded to include Director General NTA, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, Director General NBC, Ishak Modibo Kau, Chairman House Committee on Information, Olusegun Odebumi, Chairman Senate Committee on Information, Suleiman Adokwe, and other members of the Nigerian delegation. The discussion focused on the way forward for the smooth transition from analog to digital broadcasting in Nigeria, the Star Times role and contributions, as well as other ways Star Times can facilitate the process. The Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, urged Star Times President Pang Xingxin to be more active in Nigerian culture to make it enticing for more Chinese to visit Nigeria to promote people-to-people exchange.
Just a quick reminder that you can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. And up ahead, tackling corruption, traditional rulers and Islamic scholars at their meeting in Kaduna with a recommendation on the way forward. Please stay with us.
Special guest of honor, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, Honorable Minister of Finance, Chairman, African Union, Customs Subcommittee, happiest Goose Viewer, special guest, Kunyo Mukuriya, Secretary General, World Customs Organization, Chief Host, Colonel Ahmed Ibrahim Ali, retired Controller General of Customs. During the extraordinary meeting, the African heads of customs will be discussing trade facilitation, security, and ways of forging common position in global customs administration. Management announcer.
Hello, I just got back from the States and I need a SIM so I can have a number.
Bonus you need.
What's nyafu nyafu?
If you join MTN, you go enjoy bonus to bracket.
What's bracket?
See, any bonus we then give you, you go fit to do anything where you like with them. Chatting, browsing, texting, calling, to any network for Nigeria, and no condition at all. Completely free dot. Everything in Baku.
What's Baku?
If you buy the charge card 100 naira, they go give you 600 naira. If you call the charge 200 naira, as a big baby to is now, they will give you 1,200 naira.
Hey, brother, show me the way now.
Get an MTN SIM, register it, and get 6 times of all your recharges every time you recharge, and much more.
MTN, everywhere you go. His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kano State, Dr. Abdullahi Umaru Ganduje, welcomes the Acting President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osibajo, to Kano, the center.
Pump the jam, pump it up while your
feet are stomping, and the gym is pumping. Look at the crowd is jumping. Pump up your drum and push up your hand. You know, say me fans, them plenty like sun. Jump up and dance, make them understand. Say me energy could I never be contraband. No matter what life throws at me, I can handle it constantly. All of my fans, them invited. DJ, make my day.
Make my day. Make my day. Make my day.
I can't believe she just rejected me and my camera.
She rejected my lights.
How can she not want makeup?
Maybe when the battery dies, she'll come back to us.
Nah, not with a 4,000 milliampere battery.
Experience the best selfies of your life. Gioni A1 Super Selfie Super Battery.
Thanks for staying with us on the Network News. Traditional rulers and Islamic scholars under the auspices of the Jamaatul Nasr Islam at the second day of their pre-Ramadan conference in Kaduna are unanimous in their submissions that making the best use of intellectual resources remains the surest and fastest way to tackle corruption. Sulaiman Abdullahi Rigachikun reports.
Academics from various disciplines attributing the challenge to moral decadence, lack of proper teaching and understanding.
Held a national Thanksgiving service to appreciate God for his magnanimity on Nigeria and her leadership as she repositions for service to the nation. Nkiru Anyefiena reports.
For over 3 years, the Assemblies of God Nigeria has been in court over leadership tussle, which created a rift among members of the church. Due to the recent Apex Court verdict in favor of the recognized leadership by Reverend Chidi Okorafor, members deemed it fit to celebrate the Lord's faithfulness. The celebration, which brought together the leadership of the church from across the country, as well as top government functionaries, had as its theme, God of Great Wonders. In his message, the General Superintendent, Assemblies of God, Reverend Chidi Okorafor, said the church had started seeing the end of its crisis and extended hands of fellowship to aggrieved members to come back to the mainstream so that the church can move forward.
And our declaration is that Assemblies of God Nigeria is not divided. Assemblies of God Nigeria has a good future, and we have a mandate from heaven.
In a sermon, Reverend
We apologize for the bad end of that report. Now, the Nigerian Navy has restated its readiness to partner its Cameroonian counterpart towards protecting and securing the maritime domain within the Gulf. National Organization for Migration, Enira Kazalik, said this at a Train the Trainers workshop on migration in Abuja. Olayinka Ojo reports that the workshop is aimed at training participants on how to analyze and distill data for decision makers to design effective policies on migration and free movement.
Migration in recent times has highly crucial political and economic stake for all countries and developing countries in particular. Issues such as absence of sustainable economic and social development, economic crisis, economic imbalance between regions, internal conflicts, poor governance of public affairs are some reasons for migration. With the question not being whether migration should continue, but how to effectively manage it in West African states, Chief of Missions International Organization for Migration says it is essential that ECOWAS and its member states establish a harmonized system of data collection and management.
We need to make it easier for them to move within the region, but we also need to know who is moving, how often, to where, and for how long and for what purpose.
Programs Officer, Research and Statistics, ECOWAS, Christopher Ajeru, urged the participants to judiciously use the knowledge acquired at the seminar, as they will in turn train stakeholders on how to collect, compile, analyze and manage migration data to scale up their analytical competences, with focus on why collect data for policy.
Entertain the case. The lower court, he continued, should hands off and not have future jurisdiction on the matter. He proceeded that if the court continues to hear the case that is before the appellate court, it will amount to embarking on illegal judicial voyage.
How do you forfeit a citizen's property contrary to the provisions of section 36, 43, 44 of the 1999 Constitution? You cannot do that.
Counsel to EFCC Rotimi Oyedepo, in his counter-argument, said there is not enough issues to justify the adjournment. He argued that the court can still hear the matter unless the opposition counsel wants the case to be stifled.
Since we filed these applications, a lot of delayed tactics has been, taken by the respondent. But we are not deterred. We are determined to fight to also ventilate our grievances at the Court of Appeal.
After hearing the arguments from both parties, the judge, Justice Cecilia Olatoregu, said since the matter has been slated for hearing by the appeal court on July 5th, the case is adjourned till September 20th. The proposed construction of modular refineries in the Niger Delta region and more investment in the downstream sector will greatly reduce the importation of refined products to 60% in 2018. This was the submission of the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Dr. Emmanuel Ibe Kachuku, at the 20th anniversary lecture of Rain Oil Limited, an indigenous oil and gas company in Lagos. Annie Daniels was at the lecture and is set to download details of what was said.
Dr. Ibe Kachuku was represented. His thoughts and those of some captains of the downstream sector dominated the lecture with the theme, The Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry, Opportunities, Challenges and Prospects of the Downstream Sector. They unanimously agreed that oil and gas, being the mainstay of Nigeria's economy, provides 95% of Nigeria's export earnings and 70% of government revenue. However, frequent breaches of pipelines by vandals, unsafe marine operations, lack of foreign investors, non-functional refineries.
The Flamis PLC, Aswe Ikodalo, says a review of the results shows that the group's operating profit went up to 16 billion naira compared to a loss of 8.6 billion naira posted at the preceding year. Profit after tax went up to 10.6 billion naira as against a loss of 12.7 billion naira in 2015. Revenue went up by 120.2% from 48 billion naira to 105 billion naira, while gross profit increased by 556.8% to 29 billion naira in contrast to the 4 billion naira in 2015.
We will continue to do better and we will continue working very hard. Management has done a fantastic job. We will continue to encourage management and work with them so that we can do better and so that by God's grace, next year or the year after the next, we'll be able to pay good dividend.
The pipeline of innovation is coming. Just watch out. Before the end of this month, you'll see another fantastic innovation being landed in the market.
Though no dividend was paid to shareholders, but they say they are happy that the company's performance is encouraging.
We are sure that by the next AGM, we will be approving a dividend with which we will be going over.
We are expecting nothing less than 50 kobo from Dangote Flour because that is how they have been paying it before.
Dangote Flour Mills PLC, maker of Dangote Flour, pasta and noodles management say key focus areas in the near future will be sustenance of high product quality in Lagos. Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
You're still watching NTA.
There's something else it gives us. When we see such beauty, we want to share it with those we love. That's what LG wants you to see. Just what we see now through our technology. LG OLED TV.
I need
a product that I can really trust to restore my skin's natural fairness.
Nivea Natural Fairness Body Lotion with an innovative formula containing unique berry extracts to visibly lighten and care for your skin.
Hello, you must be here to pick up your sister. Mommy? Wow, you have the most beautiful glowing skin.
Now I have visibly fairer skin, making me feel younger.
I can't believe she just rejected me and my camera.
She rejected my lights.
How can she not want makeup?
Maybe when the battery dies, she'll come back to us.
Nah, not with a 4,000 milliampere battery.
Experience the best selfies of your life. Gioni A1 Super Selfie Super Battery.
Where is the pulp? The pulp. Where is the pulp? Where is the pulp?
Taste it.
Over the Central Bank of Nigeria's minimum rediscount rate for the year 2017. The minister said the review of the interest rate on unpaid taxes was one of the necessary measures adopted by the federal government to enhance tax compliance, minimize tax evasion and deter late payment. The minister has accordingly directed the executive chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, to commence the implementation of the new interest rate on all unpaid taxes from July 1st, 2017. It's countdown to Democracy Day. May 29 will mark the second year of this administration, and Nigerians have been expressing their views on this administration's performance. NTA Business News spoke with a cross-section of Nigerians who bore their minds on the performance of the economy during this period.
Basically, to improve the economy, all sectors should be able to work. Small scale industry should be able to work. We should be able to export things out of the country to be able to see the economy rebounds. We should be able to tighten up the loose ends that we have in all departments, in all sectors of the government.
The present government is trying all it could to put the economy back despite the recess. And by the grace of God, as been promised by the federal government, because the budget have been passed, truly the way we are looking at it.
Company of Northern Nigeria and PZ, while the decliners were led by EcoBank, Transnational, Cadbury's and NEM Insurance. That wraps up the business segment. The news continues.
And still talking business, the Corporate Affairs Commission will no longer accept physical submission of new applications for company registration in 6 state offices of the Commission as part of its drive to ensure ease of doing business as well as promoting investment. Registrar General of the Commission, Mr. Bello Mahmoud, stated this at a press briefing in Abuja. Abdullahi Suleiman Yaji reports.
Old and new customers processing registration in Enugu, Kaduna, Kano, Lagos, Port Harcourt and Abuja shall directly pay charges and stamp duties through the company registration portal, which can be accessed on the Corporate Affairs Commission website in furtherance of efforts to phase out manual registration and encourage economic growth.
I am pleased to inform you that the Commission has currently phased out physical submission of new applications for registration in the 6 state offices, to wit Abuja, Lagos, Kano, Kaduna, Enugu and Port Harcourt, with effect from Monday, 15th May 2017.
So this is going to be another way of supporting customers to ensure that this is very seamless and smooth and really eases doing business for them.
When you present your documents to CAC, you are only required to pay an additional sum of 500 naira to cover the cost of notarization. So it will be the responsibility of the approving officer in CAC, who is a lawyer, to sign that declaration. The minister has given directives for CAC to enlist the services of private notaries public that will be signing this declaration.
Fertilizer ingredient in December 2016. The objective is to bring down the cost of production of fertilizer and at the same time make it accessible to farmers.
Under the agreement, Nigeria has received 47,000 tons of phosphate that led to the production of over 1 million tons of fertilizer and over 200,000 jobs created.
We must thank Mr. President for the initiative as we are diversifying our economy, as we are looking at agriculture. The major input is fertilizer.
The second phase of the agreement is expected to enable creation of platform that will secure the Nigeria's fertilizer market supply for competitive prices and reinforce local distribution channels.
Is that this second phase will lead us to a deeper strategic partnership for the development of agriculture in Nigeria.
The MOU we witnessed today is dealing with the logistics and building capacity, enhancing the existing plant and building more new plants, because we're going to have more plants coming, about 4 million tons additional to the existing one.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs led Minister of Agriculture and that of Mines and Steel and the Governor of Jigawa State and Chairman Presidential Committee on Fertilizer in signing the agreement in Morocco. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi II, has blamed trade globalization and influx of manufactured foreign goods for the downfall of many industries in Kano. In a keynote address at a one-day conference to commemorate 50 years of Kano statehood,
proactive approach towards the development of education, agriculture and industrialization. Governor Ganduje said the conference was organized to identify ways of taking Kano to the position envisioned by its past leaders. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
More philanthropists donate to IDPs in Borno State as we join Mohammed in our Maiduguri Center. Hello, Mohammed.
Hello, welcome to Maiduguri. The International Institute for Tropical Agriculture, IITA, has donated over 35,000 kilograms of variety of seeds to the state government as part of efforts to revive farming activities in the Northeast. Chairman Zero Hunger Forum and IITA Ambassador, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, handed over the seeds as well as large quantity of rice donated by the Zero Hunger Forum to Governor Kashi Shettima at the Farm Center in Maiduguri. Mohammed Goni reports.
The donated seeds, said to be the largest quantity so far offered to Nigeria by the IITA management, is to address the humanitarian crisis in affected communities and to also ensure food security in Borno and the Northeast. Chairman Zero Hunger Forum and IITA's ambassador Chief Olusegun Obasanjo said the initiative is an expression of empathy to those affected by insurgency. Director General of IITA, Dr. Kenton Dashel, said the organization is concerned about the plight of the people of the region, stressing commitment to work with the federal and state governments to transform the agricultural sector for the benefit of the people. Governor Kashi NTA News.
That's the size of our contribution from Maiduguri. Back to Shehu in Abuja.
Thanks, Mohammed. Now, updates in the sporting world and latest happenings at the global stage after this time out. Stay with us.
Boosting agricultural production, the thrust of the Buhari administration. How far? That's the focus on NTA Tuesday Live. We x-ray the gains and challenges in the sector. NTA Tuesday Live. Incisive, educative, and informative. Join us.
Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. 3 little birds pitch by my doorstep, singing sweet songs. Our melody's pure and true, saying, this is my message to you. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright.
There's no limit to what you can do with data with Nigeria's widest data network. It's
describing it as the biggest deal.
President Trump also visited Western Wall, first United States president to do so. However, in Turkey, more than 221 coup suspects, including top military brass, are facing trial at the prison complex near Ankara. The number one suspect, the Muslim cleric Fethullah Gulen, is still in the United States and has denied any involvement. Researchers from the Norwegian Refugee Council say the number of people displaced by conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo last year was higher than that of Syria or Iraq. The Norwegian Refugee Council's Internal Displacement Monitoring Center gave the figure thus: DR Congo 922,000, Syria 824,000, and Iraq 659,000. That's Global Tidbit. Gabriel Udu, NTA News.
And in sports, Gracie Hovere wins 2017 inaugural golf tournament of IBB International Golf and Country Club, Abuja. Dende Sonny tells us more on Sports Update.
The election for technical officials and coaches to get one representative in the yet-to-be-constituted board of the Athletics Federation of Nigeria took place in Abuja Monday, with former Edo State Sports Commissioner Brown Ebewele elected. He polled 31 votes, beating 3 other contestants.
Hope is back to athletics in Nigeria.
Progress into the day, chances of isolated thunderstorms are likely to affect the southern half of the country, including the high ground areas of the central cities, talking about Abuja, part of Jos, Lafia and Lokoja axis. Thundery activities may likely occur over Gusau and Katsina axis. And that's where we conclude the weather forecast. Join us again.
And a reminder that you can get all our stories and much more when you log on to our website, www.nta.ng. That's the Network News tonight. We thank you for watching. I am Sheung Olagunju. Good night.